Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another discussion video. This is something I've been wanting to do for a minute. I want to do like another comic review since I did one for my Patreon, the Doctor Strange Way of the Weird and the volume 1 and then volume 2, The Last Days of Magic. I want to do one for Batman. Didn't want to wait till next month. I really want to get this out. I was in like a Batman mood. So this is one of my favorite Batman stories that I enjoyed reading. There's plenty of others that I want to do. This is one of my favorite, like just one-off Elseworld stories. Think of like DC's Elseworld stories more so because Marvel has something similar, but they call it What If. But they usually end in very depressing states. Never been much of a fan of What If's Marvel stuff at all. That's my personal take on the subject. That's why it's probably one of the few things that like I really don't care about when it comes to Disney Plus. When they'll start doing that Marvel What If series, I really don't like depressing stories all that much. I'm not like a cynical person at all. I have my cynical moments in my life, but I really don't want to sit there and read like depressing crap. And those are what if stuff are usually like. But I am more like a slightly more of a Marvel fan than DC, but I do like them both. But the one thing I do love DC is when they do those Elseworld stories, especially when it comes to Batman. But this is one of the first ones I want to do on the channel. By the way, if you have like a suggestion that you want to give to me so far as like a comic you want for me to review, subscribe to my Patreon. There's certain tier levels. You can choose the minimum tier if you want to, so you can put in a request for one comic for me to check out. I'll put it on a list. And if you are a member of the Patreon, that's www.patreon.com/talkativecarl. You can like I said, put in like a request. I will make it a priority, put it out there. You'll get first access as a Patreon member before anybody else, and I'll give you a shout out too. I already did one for Doctor Strange, like I mentioned. This time it'll be a DC comic. We'll be talking about. I don't think I ever mentioned in my Doctor Strange review of Last Days of Magic who was the artist and writer. That was my mistake. I completely had like a brain fart on that moment. I'll make sure I make it I put it in the forefront of my mind to discuss who was the writer and artist of comic books for the foreseeable future. But for this one, Batman Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious earth, written by Grant Morrison and illustration by Dave McKean. And this was made back in the 80s. I think either running parallel with Batman 89, the Tim Burton first Batman movie, or this might have came out before that. I think it was before that. But this is just one of those thought-provoking comics that's like get inside, like the mindset of like certain characters, more specifically Batman. And I gotta say, I love it. The art is definitely unique. It's very like pencil-y in a collaboration with like collage type of artwork. And like some people don't care for that because, and I understand their reasoning, because it's like certain wording, like the Joker is in this, and when he's talking, it's very like red and scratchy, and it's like hard to read sometimes. And it's like that, and I get it. I wish they would have made it a little bit more clearer so you can understand what you're reading. But there's like two different stories going along in this comic. If you ever played the like the first Batman game, Batman Arkham Asylum, uh, is pretty much like take inspiration from this comic, where the inmates are taking over the asylum, and Batman has to go through this gauntlet in order to get out on the other side and save some people along the way. But you also, if you ever play the game, and there's these little collectibles that you run into called the like, where like get these little tablets, and you got these little etches written on it in like a circular pattern, and it's pretty much you get these recordings of Amadeus Arkham, the founder of the asylum. Hey Daniel, I'm glad you're feeling okay and at home at least. But anyway, the if you play the game, you get these haunting retellings uh, of Amadeus Arkham, and you get like these kind of similar things as you're reading, like because like in the comic, you're getting a story of like Amadeus Arkham and his spiral in insanity. And Arkham is like a beast of a place. It's like in one story, I don't think I read it, but I might have like heard like some well highlights of it. But the creator of, at least the architect of the asylum in the first place, actually went insane when he finally finished the project of creating this facility, and he was admitted in said facility that he created himself. That's how wild this place is. Whoever goes in always comes out crazy if there wasn't crazy before. uh it happened to, like, you know, at least a few people. Like, I can't recall off the top of my head, but I do recall somebody who pretended to be crazy in order to go to Arkham Asylum instead of Blackgate Prison with the normal inmates. uh he went in there sane, and then went insane, you know, the longer he stayed there. It's like he wasn't crazy before. So this place automatically makes you crazy in some fashion, form or fashion, which we'll get into later in the story. But I want to tell it in like two different parts. I want to talk about Amadeus Arkham's storyline, and then we'll talk about the whole Batman storyline. Now, the Amadeus Arkham, when before the asylum was even created, he had a wife and a daughter. Uh, uh, you know, he usually worked in Metropolis, but I think this is way back, you know, during the turn of the century, because it's like, you know, they're still like, they will electricity, but it's like barely the early stages of electricity being like wielded in like houses and stuff like that, like during like uh uh the beginning stages of how like Thomas Edison creating, like, you know, the light bulb and all that stuff. This is around like when it's like, you know, in all the houses and stuff, it's like relatively new stuff. So during around that kind of turn of the century. So uh he, you know, when he was a child, his mother was kind of like an invalid. She was like, you know, deteriorating mentally. So he was the only child. So, and he was the only one pretty much taking care of her. Oh, you read this comic, Daniel? Yeah, I love this comic. I think I've read it like at least like a few times in my life. It was one of my favorite Batman stories. Uh, but Amadeus, you know, was only a kid, taking care of his mother pretty much by himself. And like his mother usually freaks out at night when you're trying to put her to bed, and she always cries out about how there was like there's like a demon, like a bat is in my room, he's haunting me and everything like that. Amadeus didn't know what she was talking about. There was nobody in there as far as he saw, and he just subscribed that she was just like just her mental state just further deteriorating because there's nobody in the house but them too. It was an old house, anyway, so like old houses like that just be creepy, and it's always like creaky noises usually goes on in like big houses and stuff like that. It's always freaks people out. It freaked me out too. uh but uh as he got older, he eventually passed, but he had his own wife and kid, and he uh you know grew up as a psychologist. Knowing what his mother went through, he wanted to follow, uh go to chose the career path of a mental psychologist to help the people who has like just because what he went through with his mother, he wants to help out other people who are suffering from that same debilitating state. So he uh was helping the police deal with pretty much a criminal psychopath. Anyway, there's no way to say it. Called Mad Dog Hawkins. And Mad Dog Hawkins, according to Amadeus's notes, like, yeah, he's criminally insane. He has no remorse over people he hurts at all. He maims them. He does all these horrific things. Now, of course, Mad Dog was locked away. Don't think he was actually in like a I think it was in like a normal like prison facility. I'm not sure if they actually, I can't remember if they actually put him in like a mental facility, or at least mental facilities wasn't like to the stages of what they are today. But I don't know, because like I looked up a long time ago, like mental facilities way back in their early stages were not well respected or treated well. The people who run the place didn't treat their patients well. There was like horrific things done to them and everything like that. So this is before like Amadeus tried to turn it in a way to a way it's supposed to help people. But Mad Dog escaped custody, and then like during one of Amadeus' trips, he was notified of that. He didn't think nothing of it. As soon as he came back home, he found like his the front door was open. He called out his wife, found out his wife, this is all spoiler by the way, his wife murdered, maimed, and then found I think I think both his wife and daughter was decapitated, but he couldn't find his daughter, I don't think. But when he went to his daughter's room, he saw that there was his daughter's dollhouse was staring back at them. Upon further inspection, he saw that his daughter's head was inside the dollhouse with her eyes open, looking out one of the windows from the inside out. So, and there's this cuckoo clock in the pages, and you see it like at that exact moment you go cuckoo cuckoo. It's like he pretty much snapped at that point. He he sat down wearing his wife's wedding dress, and it's like you see that pattern, and like at least not pattern, but just see that illustrated that he is lost it now, but he's still like talking in a very calm state. He's always the quiet ones you have to worry about kind of situation, where it's like inside he's done. So, but in his way, he realizing he's like probably he's losing it, but he's still claiming that he's like, I'm not all the way gone. I'm still want to help people. Like I don't know how like wasn't made clear in the story. It's always been weird to me that in normal circumstances, when like I'm assuming he called the police in order to get like deal with the lock up Mad Dog again, help lay his family's bodies to rest and all that other stuff. But somehow he was I guess people think he's all right. This is like I said, turn of the century. They investigations probably isn't the way the investigations are normally run by today's standards. But they figured, okay, he seems okay now, despite everything. He seems managing this pretty well. Let's not look too further into it. So he said, like, once Mad Dog was, he managed to put some papers together to have Mad Dog released to his care to look after him. And so he put Mad Dog in like one of those, like not electric chairs, but it's like those what do you call those things? Those, like, I don't even know if they even still do this anymore, when they, like, those electroshock therapy things. And he strapped Mad Dog into those machines. He flipped the switch and left it on, and shocking him to death. And he got away with it, and people just ruled it as like an accident. But I don't think they really cared all that much, because he was like a insane, person that hurt people. That, like, nobody's gonna shed a tear for this guy. But then the only reason like Amadeus was even locked up in his own asylum, which he eventually had, built and everything like that to help the criminally insane, like he really initially legit wanted to. He ended up, I guess, snapping again, because he tried to kill I don't know if it was one of the board members or some trustee, but then he ended up got caught. He was locked up in his own facility, and then he's in this like own private cell, like, scratching at the walls with his own fingernails, because they took anything sharp from him, and pretty much right, like, these like notes and everything like that is almost in some cases almost kind of like binding spells, because he eventually started to believe what his mother claimed, that there's like a bat demon that's haunting this asylum, or at least looking over this asylum, or even this city for the most part. And what his mother saw, what turns out to be a legit, there was like a bat, it was like, in those big houses, usually bats nesting in those, like you saw in like Batman Begins, in his house, there was like a bat creature flapping around in the ceiling, that they nested on the ground. So like those big houses, it turns out that his mother wasn't crazy. She actually was, she probably was crazy, but she wasn't crazy about that. She actually did see one of those bats flying in the darkness, and she thought it was probably like a demon or something like that, but it was like a bat loose in the house. It didn't help her mental state at all. But he actually believed that she saw some kind of bat creature, and she believed there in the city there's some bat demon looming over this city. And then he started to believe that now too. As the years went on, he's growing old, and he's still scratching these walls and everything like that. But if you read this comic and you see him recanting his story, or even if you play Arkham Asylum, or at least look up on YouTube of Arkham Asylum game, Amadeus Arkham's recordings, and just listen in, you get the context of what his mind was at as the years went on. But now during the main story, Commissioner Gordon called in to a Batman. The inmates had escaped out of their holding cells, and they're holding hostages in the asylum. Sounds familiar? But Batman is in, like, unlike many other Batman stories, Batman in this particular story is in some kind of vulnerable state. He's not all there. He's not, I guess even Batman has one of those days where he's just not feeling it today or tonight. He doesn't want to do this tonight. He's like, I just don't want to deal with this crap today. It's like one of those days, you know, we all have one of those days. It's like, I just don't want to come into work today. I don't want to deal with this crap right now. Like, I just want to be home. I don't want to be out right now. But I gotta do this because I'm Batman. So, Joker threatening this little girl who's just working an extra job just to earn some extra money. 19 years old. But it's like, why would anybody want to work? Even, besides from like, actual doctors and security, why would anybody want to come into work, even for like an internship or whatever? Why would anybody want to work in an asylum for well-known criminals like Joker and Two-Face and like Mr. Freeze, all these people legit who have, majority of people in this facility go in and out killing people, and it's like, why would you want to work here? It's not like there's like a safe wing just for regulars, so that way they don't have to be around them. It's like, no, you probably gonna be walking past most of these, at least most of these cells, if you, depending on how long you're working here. It's not like a weekend thing, or like a summer job or anything like that. You will be legit walking around with mass murderers like Joker. And why would you want to work there? I wouldn't want to even be around it. Like, anybody even living in Gotham City, many people probably talk about this, but I do not want to be anywhere near the city limits of Gotham City. This city is a freaking cesspool. It's like, you go there, either 9 times out of 10 you'll go crazy from being around anybody who might be like holding you hostage or whatever like that. It's just like, even like carnivals or amusement parks should be forever banned from this city, because it's gonna be no doubt a Joker hideout. Anybody who's like still like, like holding like a rare diamond or whatever like that, more than likely Mr. Freeze is gonna pilfer it, or any cold storage areas, or like, Firefly, setting random arson fires amongst the city. This whole city is like just like a magnet for crazy people. And it's like I know that there's a story of like No Man's Land where people just like annex Gotham City. It's like, would you blame them? Well, like people like Gordon and everybody like him. It's like, this city's not far gone. We shouldn't give up. On normal circumstances like Central City or Metropolis or Coast City or Star City, other areas, maybe you have a point. But this is Gotham City, who has like a long history, even before Batman and Joker and Mr. Freeze and all, even before all that. This city has like a well-known track record of people going crazy in many different interpretations. It's like, this city is just like, I don't know if it's like founded on an Indian burial ground or something like that. I don't even know. But this place just turns you crazy. It's like, I don't even want to be here for an extended weekend, let alone try to, I don't know. It's like Batman, he like, for by and large, he knows how to deal with this stuff, but it's like I know, like in Batman Begins, like Ra's al Ghul tried to destroy the city to like quote unquote rescue it in his own way, but it's like, man, this city, it's like just like bulldoze the entire area and then salt the earth so nothing can grow here, because like, this is like, I don't know, just like, I don't know if it's like a portal to hell or something like that, because it's like, there's like a legit issue here that seriously, like Tom King or Grant Morrison, somebody needs to address the fact that this entire area where Gotham City, not even Arkham Asylum, but this entire area of Gotham City is like a cesspool for crazy. And it's like you have like a long laundry list of people coming in, coming in like Bane or Ra's al Ghul, just to trying to like, take over, or at least I think a lot of people legit trying to send all their bad dealings to Gotham, because this is Gotham being Gotham, and you can get away with certain things that you couldn't do in Metropolis. But bulldoze the entire area, send Joker to like an isolated prison on the moon or something, just away from the planet Earth whatsoever, just away from everybody. Keep him away from everybody. He is not somebody that's, I mean, you can legit probably can turn Riddler or Poison Ivy or Mr. Freeze around to the good side. In many cases, they have. But Joker, no, keep him off planet to a planet prison, just isolated by himself. Send him to like Apocalypse or somebody, somewhere like he may escape, but send him to like a planet where he's just by himself. And there's like fruits and other places where you can just still water and fresh air so you can still breathe. But put him like an island by himself on like a distant planet, so he can be away from that way. There's no way there's no technology around, so he can't build an aircraft by himself, because he's still smart. I'm pretty sure he can build an aircraft if there's like resources or whatever. But put him like a solar system. There's no way people can come in and he can be rescued and take over and fly back home or anything like that. Matter of fact, have like the Green Lantern Corps put like a permanent bubble around the area, so that way nobody can come in and he can't come out, kind of thing. So he can just by himself. He is gone out of the zeitgeist, and people can move on, and everybody else can we can easily deal with almost every other criminal but him. It's like, screw him, like forever. It's like, if you don't want to kill him, put him off, because he can escape any prison, but put him somewhere on a distant planet by himself where he can't get out. There's no way he can return. It's like, he can escape all he wants, but there's no way he can get off like a planet by himself. And so that way people biologists can try to move on without him. But this entire city is screwed, because whatever, this city is like, I don't want to say it's beyond saving, but it's like, certain criminals doesn't help facilitate the process. But anyway, Gordon, just telling Batman I mean, you don't have to. We can get a SWAT team and everything like that, but people there, they're in danger, and these inmates are asking for you specifically. So so Batman like I'm gonna go. As soon as he's there, Joker releases the hostages, and then the little girl named Pearl, because Joker was starting using like a pencil to gouge out her eyes, and it was like a big April Fool's joke. Like, I didn't really do it. So Batman walks in, and then it's like, just like on a random occasion, this is like, you never see this in any other story before. Joker slaps Batman on the ass, telling him like, loosen up, tight ass. And it's like don't touch me, you filthy degenerate. And it's like, wow, I was like, whoa. I think back in the 80s, there's probably be a little like whoa, it's out of the blue kind of situation. I mean, not so much now, but it's like, wow, that's like it's random, it's Joker. But anyway, as Batman comes in, Batman seeing like there's still a few people here. I thought, he's like, Joker, I thought we agreed you would release all the hostages. What are these people still doing here? And it's like, these are a couple of doctors, like Dr. Ruth Adams and this, I forgot this other guy's name, this other nurse or attendant or whomever like that, that helps out the doctors. They're talking about they want to be here because there's still like inmates here that are still in danger because they're not part of Joker's little scheme, but they still need to be looked after. And Ruth Adams was, well, Joker pointed out that Two-Face, he pissed himself again. And you see Two-Face fool around with these deck of cards, huddle underneath like a table or something like that. And Batman's asking like, what the hell did you do to him? What you do to Two-Face? And then Doctor was like, don't call him that. His name is Harvey. What I did was, according to her, which I thought was pretty interesting. Her take on how to deal with Harvey is that he's obsessed with a number two, or obsessed with choice, and he always relies on the coin scarred one side, not scarred on the other side, to make his decisions of what to do or not to do, or right or wrong. So we wean him off the coin. So we introduce him to a die, then we eventually introduced him to a deck of cards, tarot cards, and then eventually after that we'll introduce him to the I Ching, and then hopefully eventually he decide to nix all of that so he can finally make a decision for himself. But Batman was like, pretty much, and when I first read this, I understood what he's talking about. I still kind of understood what he's talking about. It's like, well, it's like, right now he can't make a simple decision like going to the bathroom. I was like, what kind of help are you giving this man? And in her logic, she figured, like, you know, he'll eventually knock off the using objects to make decisions instead, and start making decisions for himself. But you don't see that playing out right now, because it's like you're in the middle of the process instead of seeing the end result. Right now we're all thinking like she's screwing with him, because it's like you can't decide to go to the bathroom without resorting to the cards, and it's kind of weird. And so then you know, Joker, and I like this moment where the Joker comes in and pulling out these little ink blots, and he's telling him what he sees, which is like a goofy little thing. It's like two people screwing something or whatever like that. Just, you know, wild stuff. But even before that, she goes over with Batman about what she was able to deduce, or at least theorize, when it comes to therapy sessions with Joker, and what her analysis is, or many doctors' analysis that she managed to accumulate from the diagnosis of the Joker, which in a lot of people's cases, in a form of a super sanity, where it's like he views what it boils down to, from what, because I read my fair bit of like psychology on like Batman and Joker, and from a lot of comic books I read, like, from what it boils down to is that the Joker is so insane that he views the world around him as insane, and he's the only person sane, or at least, and he's trying to convince to others, because he does these crazy things just to get people to break, just like you see in like the Killing Joke, where he's trying to drive Gordon insane to see people, to get people to see things his way, like you see in like the Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight movie. He's trying to get people to turn the same way he has turned, to see things his way, because that's his form of what is sane. So I mean, that's at least that his perspective. And what Ruth Adams also surmises is that he changes his personality or his perspective every day. It's like he can be like a silly clown one day and maniacal serial killer the next day, and it kind of flip-flops every day, or recycles almost every day. You never know what you're going to get with the Joker. That's why, like, in different interpretations of the Joker throughout the years since his creation up until now, like, you know, like in the 80s and the 90s and the 70s, there's all different interpretations, and a maniacal serial killer or a goofy clown committing pranks, that kind of thing. You never know. But the Joker comes in, convinces Ruth to do the ink blast with Batman, and Batman's like, it's okay, Doctor. He plays along for as long as he could, and he allows the Doctor to do the ink blots himself, which you kind of, it makes your heart break a bit, but you get to see, like, at least Dr. Ruth get to see, you know, or at least glimpse of what's going on in Batman's mind when she does word association, not ink blocks, word association. And she goes like, mother, he says Pearl, father, a gun, and she might say like death, and he's like, stop, stop, and it's like, and Joker just laughs in the background, but it's just like you get to see like the stuff that still haunts Batman to this day, uh, that kind of thing. And then Joker uh, proposes like a game to Batman, because everything's like a game to him in some form or fashion. That if you we'll give you an hour a head start if you run for one end to the asylum to the other and kind of thing without getting caught by any of the escaped inmates, then you'll go free. But if you get caught, we'll kill you. So Batman just goes through this because they're running the show and people like so far are in danger. So he runs through this gambit trying to avoid many people. He sees the Scarecrow, but he avoids him. But I think he gets caught by like Joker gas, not Joker gas, but the Scarecrow fear gas a bit. He has to like take a shard of glass and stab through his own hand just to get him into the moment and out of his own head, because he's he's slowly like this is like in the middle of the run, but he's like trying to stay focused at the task at hand and not lose himself. He runs the Clayface looks like a decomposing body. I don't know what's going on with Clayface in this. As it didn't look like Clayface to me. That's probably the one thing I did not like about this story, is the fact that certain interpretations of what I guess in this interpretation of what the Clayface guy is, he's not like in the 90s, or at least any of the not just in the 90s TV show, just like in any interpretation, he's not like this sludge monster kind of creature or humanoid creature. He's just like some kind of look like a corpse walking, and Batman knocks him, like he didn't want to get touched by him, so he kind of like does this like a little martial arts move just to throw him to the side and go for it. And you see Dr. Destiny, this wheelchair bound guy who uses like Clayface to wheel him around. But Dr. Destiny, in case you don't know who that is, if you've ever seen like the Justice League animated series, he's one of the villains they tangle with at least once. He kind of like he's kind of like Freddy Krueger in a way, where he gets in people's heads when they're asleep. Kind of like Scarecrow before like sleeping people. But he's wheelchair bound. Batman just kicks him down the stairs to avoid him, so he won't be tainted by him in his mind. Then he runs to Maxie Zeus, who in this book looks like Electro, almost like ultimate Electro from this Miles Morales universe. But he also runs into Killer Croc, who he almost like got killed by, but he was thrown out of a window and landed on one of the statue of the Archangel Michael. And he took off, I don't know how he did this, but Batman took off the stone sword that the statue was wielding and used it to stab Killer Croc so he can make his way around him. And then if you don't know who Max Zeus is, Max Zeus is like normally is just a guy who believes himself to be the reincarnation of the Olympian god Zeus, and he's just like that mentally gone, where he's just like by and large just think he talks in like not old English, but it's just like the way people talk in Greek Roman times, and he normally wears like togas and all this stuff, and he wields like normally he wields some kind of like technology that like looks like a lightning bolt that shoots out electricity. And just like he actually, like in the Batman the animated series, he made one appearance and he convinced himself to think that Batman is like Hades, that he constantly has to fight. And in the TV show The Batman, he made an appearance in like the third or fourth season. I would review that show eventually too. I love that show. I think it's almost as good as the Batman the Animated Series. Uh, but yeah, he's going through. Managed to make his way to uh, Dr. Ruth Adams and the other orderly, and but the orderly event eventually holds Ruth hostage, and admitting that he's the one who let these inmates out in the first place, because he found like Amadeus Arkham's records, and then I guess when he was reading it, he's starting to lose it himself. Like I said, this place makes a lot of people crazy. Not a lot of people, but like, you know, by and large, it's like a handful, at least by comparison, there's a majority of people out of the minor people who end up going crazy when they, you know, either admit it here or start working here. And he's starting to lose it a bit. Like this guy definitely started losing when he came across Amadeus Arkham's notes, and he realized that Batman was the foretold demon that's haunting this city and this asylum that Amadeus' mother forewarned in her purview, and that he believed that it was Batman who created these like inmates, that these crazed people that, you know, causes this, you know, city to go, you know, crazy, this whole facility to go crazy. And it's like you bringing these people in, and it's like, you know, you're the root cause of everything that's going on in this city. He's trying to kill Batman. I don't know how he got I don't even know how he got the upper hand on Batman, of all people, the master martial artist of the DC universe. But he's in there like on top of him, choking him, and then Ruth comes up behind him, got like a razor, like a shaving razor kind of thing, like old school shaving razor handheld thing, and slit the man's throat. And then in like a strange way, like the Batman didn't even uh not lecture her or anything like that, or come down on her. She's just like, you know, you did what you had to do. It's like, normally Batman wouldn't like the idea. First and foremost, Batman wouldn't be able to be taken down by some random schmuck with no fighting experience at all. But then again, not having to be allowing a person to having to kill somebody in order to save him, or at least whatever. It's just odd in this story that Batman would just be that okay with Ruth having to take a person's life, because she's obviously in shock, and he you know, take a moment to calm her down. But then as they walking out, Joker, you know, saying like, well, we here, you know, it's time to die. And then Batman, who took a coin from Ruth, saying like, why don't we let Harvey decide? Oh, what a great idea. And then Batman tosses the coin to Harvey. Then Harvey flips the coin. He said, oh well, he says like, heads, he goes free. Tails, we kill him. So he flips the coin. He says heads. Then Joker saying like, okay. And then lets Batman and Ruth go as the police are coming in to, you know, rearrest everybody and lock them back up in their cells. And Joker in like a not candid, but just like jokingly ways like enjoy the asylum, as he walking out to the city. Like, when it gets too tough out there, just so you know, you're always welcome back here, as indicating that the actual asylum is like his actual home, and the outside world is the asylum, that kind of thing. But then towards the end, if you see like Harvey, the coin actually comes scarred, and showing that not only that Harvey Dent, for the first time, at least, you know, there's been other interpretations since this comic, but I think this is the first time, probably back then, where Harvey Dent actually made a choice for himself rather than actually depending on the coin. But I think also, in a way, it was Harvey given a Batman like a boon in a way. It's like, you give me back my coin, something I cherish. So in return, I'm pretty much giving you your life. So we're even kind of situation. So in a way, like Batman probably helped Harvey more so than Ruth was doing. But yeah, it's like a great story. I mean, if you haven't read this, I do give it. I mean, especially if you like those like very like, you know, because this is like very thought provoking. This is not, you know, not a lot of this is like too literal kind of thing. This is like, you know, this like, if you reading this, you look like you're like, you know, with all this collage artworks and scratches kind of like pencily kind of artwork, and then like certain writing is very like jagged in some cases. It's like you're kind of losing it as you're reading it in a situation, but it's fun. And like, I like thought-provoking kind of like stories that, you know, you're getting in somebody's mind in a way. I'm not a big fan of like stories like Batman Returns, like the part 1 and part 2. I don't find it like I read it before, only read it once. It's okay to me. And it's like, it's not one of my favorite Batman stories, to be honest. A lot of people love that story. I don't really care about it that much. It's not one of my favorites. I don't like that interpretation of Batman, really. It's not like it's like any problem with it. It's just personally, it's not the take I care about all that much, really. But this is a story that I do highly recommend. Like, if you want like just like a one-off Batman story or something, well, I want to say this should be like your first Batman story that you should be reading. If anything, a first Batman story that you should check out is like the, you know, the very first issue of Batman, at least the first few issues of Batman. Or I I will be doing like a review of this at some point. But the Batman Year One, the anime movie and the comic, if you want to get into Batman, or at least make a first Batman reading, I recommend those two. If you want to get into Batman, if you not like a Batman reader or a comic book reader at all, or at least not a DC reader, if you want to get into something, like those will be probably like the first things I do recommend if you want to get into like Batman specifically. Batman Year One and the anime and movie and the comic would be like a good jumping in point. But I do also recommend Batman Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth. It's a great read, a very thought-provoking read. It's touch and go on the artwork to some people. Some people don't like the artwork all that much because it's like a little too all over the place for some people. I don't mind it all as much because there's certain areas that I thought was great art style, great especially the cover. The cover is like amazing. It kind of reminds me of like Fright Night because the way the mouth is, look like fangs. You see like the Joker on like the one side and then Batman on the left side. Well, if you're looking on the cover on the front, the Joker's on your left and Batman's on your right. But if you're the actual face, Batman's on the left and Joker's on the right side. That kind of thing. But anyway, the art style is I do thoroughly enjoy it. The way Batman's walking towards the buildings, kind of like an homage to like the was it The Exorcist? I think it was The Exorcist, like, where like the priest walking out the cab and it's foggy and he's walking towards the building. It kind of reminds me of that a bit. So a combination of Friday and The Exorcist is like, you know, on this cover to me. But yeah, definitely I'll give this a read. It's like an awesome Batman story. I will be doing more comic book reviews, but once again, don't forget to if you have like a suggestion for a comic we want me to read, subscribe to my Patreon, to at the very least the lowest tier where you can submit a request for a comic that you want me to check out and review. You'll get early access, and I will post it on the Patreon, give you a shout out, and that way we'll just build this community further. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. Probably next month I will probably do another comic book review depending on who's making a particular request. So see y'all next time, And don't forget, if you want to follow me, if you're on YouTube right now in the future, follow the links in the description. All my little separate little things are there. You can follow me on YouTube, same name, Talkative Carl. My Twitter, same name. Twitch, same name. Patreon, same name. Yeah, and I will see y'all soon for more, definitely more Batman, but like we'll try to be more, get like a more variety going on. So I will see you guys soon. Take care.